Last week we went ahead and broke down the angles of attack. Um, as we can see, it's really simple. We have forehands, we have backhands, and we have thrusts in various lines. That's all it is. Any numbering system boils down to that. So our next logical course is to go ahead and break down defense. Now, all the different arts have different names for all the various blocks, and they do it by number and they do it by angle. But that just gets way too complicated to think about when you're actually fighting. So what we want to look at is simply not worrying about angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, whatever. We're simply going to break the body down in the quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4. Call them what you will. The important thing to understand is from each quarter, you can simply block tip up or tip down. Now, as a side note, some schools call a roof block this, a tip down block with the stick at an angle. Some call this a roof block, all right? They're really the same thing. If your tip's not up, your tip is down, whether it's here or here. Does not matter. So no matter what angle you're being struck from, if I strike AC here with an angle 1, and he simply does an inside block with the tip up, he doesn't really have to think about, oh, that's an angle 1, or maybe it's an angle 3. Same thing if I go with the classic number 2 line, this backhand here, all right? It's super simple. Don't overthink it. If he swings down at my leg, I can step away. It's not difficult. Or if I'm in a position where I can't step away, oh, look, it's a tip down block. It's this block just down here. Don't overcomplicate your defense. There's a hierarchy when we look at defending, and this is something that you really need to think about. Ideally, we don't want to block. Blocking is actually the last thing we want to do. The first thing we want to do, go ahead and give me an angle 1, is avoid. Step out of the way and counterattack. If you can't do that, or you can't attack me, attack or counterattack in time, if you can't do that, then you have to block. When we block, there is a hierarchy of blocking. Ideally, give me an angle 1. Steel against steel. Steel against flesh. Again, flesh against flesh. And finally, and only if your life depends on it, flesh against steel. This is never, ever good. But it might save your life. It's better to go through life missing a hand or a few fingers than it is to be dead. That's a kind of a given. So realistically, when we look at all of this and we look at defense, our main number 1 defense should always be avoidance. If we're not avoiding, we're avoiding and counterattacking. You know, the classic defang the snake. Or attacking or counterattacking in time. Always avoiding. If we're caught flat-footed, we're caught unaware, we don't have our wits about us for whatever reason, then we block. And again, our blocks are simple. Tip up, tip down. Tip up, tip down. Tip down, tip down, tip up, tip up. That's all there is to it. So when you're playing with this at home and you're working with your training partners, what I want you to do is go about this very, very slowly. Focus on avoiding shots at first. Just step out of range, come back in and counterattack. Let's do that again. Step out of range, come back in, counterattack. You can practice counterattacking in time. You attack, I avoid, and I strike. It's real simple stuff. We don't need to overcomplicate it. Then you get to where you're actually practicing blocking, that thing you don't really want to do, but it's such an integral part of your defense. So you attack, and I block. And we just reset. You attack, I block. Give me an angle two. He attacks, I block. Give me something at my leg. Oh, look, low line attack. I'm blocking it. Same over here. I can block it. Then once you've gotten to where you can do that smoothly and in time with your partner, go ahead and start playing with counters. Now remember, I said our movements are simple. They're forehands, backhands, and thrusts. So he attacks. Oh, look, I'm already coiled for a forehand as my counterattack. Fencers would call this a repost. All right, give me that angle too. Look, I block it. Oh, there's my forehand. All right, or I can completely disengage, throw it, and throw a forehand. These are all options. And what you should do, instead of getting hung up on pre-prescribed patterns, you should work on things at a very slow speed with trusted partners and let it flow and learn to react without a preconception. Once you get to that point, then you can start really playing with the counteroffensive nature of Filipino martial arts, and we'll cover that in a later episode. Next episode, we're probably going to go into footwork, but we'll see how that goes, all things permitting. Y'all take care.